Hey guys, in this video we will be making a crochet skirt. This does match a crochet top that I have a video for that I will link in the description and in the upper right hand corner. This skirt can be made in 3 different sizes and is made out of 4 half granny squares and 8 or more full granny squares, depending on how long you want it. The sizes are small, which measures 32 inches around, medium, which measures 37 inches around, and large, which measures 44 inches around. To choose your size, you will want to know the measurements of your hips and butt, and go with the size that is closest to your larger measurement. For instance, I measure 34 inches around my hips and 36 inches around my butt, so I would choose a medium of 37 inches so it will fit around my butt, because we can always work the waistband to be smaller, which is very easy and I will show you how to do. As I said, this does match a crochet top that I have done, and the full size granny squares for the small, medium, and large are worked the same way. So if you have seen that video, you will just need to choose what size you want and work your 8 full size granny squares, or however many you want, and then work 4 half granny squares, which I will put the time in this video in the description below that you can jump to see that. To make this skirt, we will be using a size 4 medium weight yarn and a 5.5 millimeter hook. All sizes of the squares for this skirt are worked the same up until row 3, at which point they are still worked the same, they just have different stitch counts that I will be letting you know when and where those are as we go. And I will be working a size large so I can work it all the way through. To get started doing this, we will start with a chain of 10, and if you need to see this or anything else in this video in finer detail, I will link videos for those in the description below. So to get started with this, we will take this and slip stitch into the first chain on our chain of 10 to form a ring. And for round 1, we will start with a chain of 6, which counts as a triple crochet and a chain 2. We will then triple crochet around the ring again, and then chain 2, and we will want to continue this pattern until we have 12 triple crochets around our ring and 12 chain spaces, including this beginning chain 6. When you get all the way around, you will end with a chain 2, and then you will slip stitch into the 4th chain of the beginning 6, and that should leave us with 12 triple crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So for row 2, we are going to slip stitch into this next chain space, so that we start in this space, and we will start with a chain 2, which counts as a triple crochet with the last loop on the hook. We will start 3 more double crochets in this next chain space, leaving the last loop on the hook of each one, so 1, 2, and 3. Then yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook for a 4 double crochet cluster. We will then chain 5 and work another 4 double crochet cluster in this next chain space by starting 4 double crochets and leaving the last loop on the hook of each one, and then yarning over and pulling through all loops left on the hook, and then again chain 5 and repeat this all the way around. When you get all the way around that round, you should end with a chain of 5, and then we will slip stitch into the top of the first 4 double crochet cluster. For the next round, round 3, this is the row that we will start doing the variations for the different sizes. Again, they all are worked exactly the same way, just with different counts. If you are working a size small, this will be your last round. If you are working a size medium, you will work this round and 1 more round. And if you are working a size large, you will have this round and 2 more rounds. So to get started for this round for all sizes, we will start with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet and a chain of 1. We will then single crochet around the next chain space, and for a size small we will chain 3, for a size medium we will chain 6, and for a size large we will chain 7, and then we will single crochet for all sizes around the next chain space. We will then chain 1 again for all sizes and 5 double crochets around the next chain space for all sizes. After you've worked 5 double crochets in this chain space, we will chain 3 and work 5 more double crochets in this same chain space, again for all sizes. When you have worked those 5 double crochets, again we will chain 1 for all sizes and single crochet around the next chain space, and here is where the difference is again. So for a size small we will chain 3, for a size medium we will chain 6, and for a size large we will chain 7, and then single crochet around the next chain space, chain 1, and work 5 double crochets around the next chain space, 3 chains and 5 double crochets around this same chain space, and continue this pattern all the way around this row. When you get all the way around this row and you are at your last corner and have worked your first 5 double crochets and the chain 3, we will then work only 4 more double crochets, because our 5th double crochet is the chain 3 in the beginning chain 4 of the round. So we will work those 4 double crochets and slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning 4. So if you are working a size small, this is your last row, and you should have a square and it should have a straight line here. If you are working a size medium, this is pretty much what yours should look like, with a slightly smaller hump here, and this is what a size large should look like. So if you are working a size small, you will want to finish this off and work 7 more or however many more you would like to reach your desired length. And if you are working a size medium or large, you will continue on for 1 or 2 more rows. Okay, if you are working a size medium or large, we are going to continue on. So if you are working a size medium, we are going to start with a chain of 5 here, which counts as a double crochet and a chain of 2. And if you're working a size large, you will want a chain of 7, which counts as a double crochet and a chain of 4. We will then single crochet around the next chain space, and if you are working a size medium, you will chain 2. If you're working a size large, you will chain 4, and you will keep that count no matter which size you are working for your square all the way around. Then you will double crochet into the next double crochet and the next 4 double crochets after that. When you have worked those double crochets and you have come to the corner, you will work 3 double crochets into that chain space, then work a chain of 3 and work 3 more double crochets in this same chain space, and then we will go on to work 1 double crochet in the next 5 double crochet stitches. When you have worked those double crochets, here's where the difference is again. So if you're working a size medium, you will chain 2, and if you are working a size large, you will chain 4 and single crochet around the next chain space, and again size medium, chain 2, size large, chain 4, and then double crochet into the next 5 double crochet stitches, and repeat this pattern all the way around this round. When you get all the way around that round and you have double crocheted in your last 4 stitches and you have come to that beginning chain, we will slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning chain, whether it be 5 or 7. So if you are working a size medium, this will be your last row. You will have a square which has a straighter line here. And if you are working a size large, you should have these two lumps here still. And we will go on to work one more row. So for the last row of this, we are going to start off with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. We will then single crochet around the next chain space and chain 2, and single crochet around the next chain space. Then chain 1 and double crochet in each double crochet until you get to the corner space. When you get to the corner space and you have worked those 8 double crochets, you will then work 3 double crochets around that chain space for the corner, and work 3 chains, and then work 3 more double crochets around this same chain space. We will then work 1 double crochet in the next 8 double crochets until you again come to the chain spaces. When you have worked those 8 double crochets and you are back at the chain spaces, we will again chain 1 and single crochet around the next chain space, chain 2 and single crochet around the next chain space, chain 1 and double crochet in the next 8 double crochet stitches, and we will repeat this pattern all the way around. When you get all the way around and you have made it back to this beginning chain, we will slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning 4 and finish this off, as it is the last round for the size large. And we will now go on to make the half squares. For the half square, if you are working a size small or medium, you will start off with a chain of 5, and if you are working a size large, you will start with a chain of 7, and then we will slip stitch into the first chain of that 5 or 7 to form a ring. Once we have that ring, for all sizes, we will then chain 6, which counts as a triple crochet and a chain 2, and then we will triple crochet around the ring again, and then we will chain 2, and we will repeat this pattern until we have 7 triple crochets and 6 chain spaces. So we will want to end with a triple crochet. When you have 7 triple crochets and 6 chain spaces, we will then turn our work, and for all sizes we will then chain 2, which counts as a double crochet with the last loop on the hook, and then we will start a double crochet around the next chain space, leaving the last loop on the hook, and then we will bring those 2 stitches together. We will then chain 2 and work a 4 double crochet cluster around the same chain space. We will then chain 4 and work a 4 double crochet cluster in the next chain space, and we will repeat this pattern 4 more times of chaining 4 and 4 double crochet cluster in the next chain space. When you have repeated that 4 more times, you should end in your last chain space with a 4 double crochet cluster worked. We will then chain 2 and start a double crochet around the same chain space, leaving the last loop on the hook, and we will start a double crochet in the 4th chain of the beginning 6 from the last round, again leaving the last loop on the hook, and then bring those 2 stitches together. So we should now have 6 full 4 double crochet clusters, and then we should have 2 stitches together on either end. For the next row, we will turn our work, and if you are working a size small, this will be your last row. If you are working a size medium, you will have this row and 1 more row, and if you are working a size large, you will have this row and 2 more rows. This is also the row that we start having the same variations as we did for the full size circle, and I will let you know when and where those variations are going to happen. For the next row, for all sizes, we will start with a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then we will work 4 double crochets around the next chain space. Again, that is for all sizes. And then we will go on to work a chain 1 and single crochet around the next chain space. And here's where the variation is. So for a size small, you will chain 3. For a size medium, you will chain 6. And for a size large, you will chain 7. And then for all sizes, we will single crochet around the next chain space and chain 1. Then work 5 double crochets around the next chain space, chain 3, and work 5 double crochets around this same chain space. When you have that corner worked with 5 double crochets, a chain 3, and 5 more double crochets, we will then chain 1 for all sizes and single crochet around the next chain space. And here's where that variation was. So if you're working a size small, you will chain 3. If you are working a size medium, you will chain 6. And for a size large, you will chain 7. Then for all sizes, we will single crochet around the next chain space and chain 1. We will then work 4 double crochets around the next chain space, and our 5th double crochet will go in the top of these 2 double crochets together from the last row. So if you are working a size small, you should have a triangle and it should be straight here, and this is the last row for you, so you will finish this off and make 3 more of these for a total of 4. If you're working size medium or large, we will go on to work 1 or 2 more rows. For the next row, we will turn our work and start with a chain of 3 for both sizes, which counts as a double crochet. Then we will double crochet into the same stitch again, which is 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. Then we will work 2 double crochets in the next stitch also, and then we will go on to work 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, again for both sizes. And then here's where our variation is. So if you're working a size medium, you will chain 2, and if you are working a size large, you will chain 4, and then single crochet around the next chain space. And again, a size medium, you will chain 2, a size large, you will chain 4, and then we will go on to double crochet 1 time in the next 5 stitches until you come to the corner. When you get to the corner, you will work 3 double crochets in this chain space, chain 3, and work 3 double crochets in this same chain space. Then we will work 1 double crochet in the next 5 double crochet stitches. And here is our difference again. So if you're working a size medium, you will chain 2, a size large, chain 4, and single crochet around the next chain space. And again, a medium, chain 2, large, chain 4, and then we will work 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then we are going to work 2 double crochets in the last 2 stitches, the last stitch being the 3rd chain of the beginning 3 from the last round. So work 2 double crochets in that stitch also. So if you're working a size medium, your edges should be a little straighter here, and you will finish this off and work 3 more of these. If you are working a size large, for the last row, we will turn our work and start with a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we will then double crochet into the same stitch for 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and then we will work 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches also. Then we will work 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. When you come to the chain spaces, we will then chain 1 and single crochet around the next chain space, chain 2 and single crochet around the next chain space, chain 1, and work 1 double crochet in the next 8 stitches until you come to the corner. When you come to the corner, you will work 3 double crochets around this chain space, chain 3, and work 3 double crochets in this same chain space, and then you will go on to work 1 double crochet in the next 8 stitches. When you have the corner and those 8 stitches worked, we will then chain 1 and single crochet around the next chain space, chain 2, and single crochet around the next chain space, chain 1, and work 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, leaving 3 stitches at the end, which we will work 2 double crochets into each of the last 3 stitches, the last stitch being the chain 3 from the previous row. So that is this stitch right here, and we will work 2 double crochets into that also. So that is it for the large half square. To finish this off, we are going to chain 1 more and pull that all the way through after cutting it off, and pull that tight, and then we will work 1 more knot here to secure that, and again we will go on to work 3 more of these. When you have all of your squares and half squares made, we are going to start putting them together. So we are going to start with 2 half squares and 1 full square. This will be where the top of the skirt will be. So we're going to take one of these half squares and fold it on top of the full square, just like this, so that these 2 edges meet up, and we are going to whip stitch this all the way across. To do that, I actually turned my work so that I am starting in the middle of the half square, where that corner meets the corner of the full square, and I started by tying my yarn into the middle stitch of the corner of both the full and half square. So we are going to go ahead and whip stitch this together all the way across by going through the front and the back stitches of both squares and doing this all the way down until the very end. When you get to the end of whip stitching those together, if you are working a size medium or large, you will notice that these stitches don't line up perfectly. That is how it is supposed to be. So we will just go through the stitches on this front square again, and then go through this same stitch here that was the last stitch on the half square to finish that off. And then go through it again and tie this off. Now that we have this attached here, this chain at the top of this full square will go towards the length that goes around our waist, and then we will continue on to connect this next half square to the other side of this full square to continue on with the straight edge at the top of the skirt. When you have this half square connected to the first full square, we will continue this pattern by connecting another full square to the other side of this half square, then connecting another half square to the other side of this full square, and continuing this pattern until we have all 4 half squares across the top of our skirt. When you have the 4 half squares attached with the 4 full squares, with 1 full square out on the end, we will then continue to sew on the last 4 squares onto the bottom of the skirt, again with 1 out on the end. When you have this all pieced together, you will want to make sure that it is inside out, and then you will want to take this angle here at the end of this top full square and attach it to this angle here at the bottom of this half square and the top of this full square, and again attach it with a whip stitch, making sure that this is inside out. When you have your skirt completely assembled, we will go on and make a border around the bottom edge of the skirt. So here is where the 3 squares connect at the bottom of the skirt, and here is one bottom point and another bottom point. So I'm going to go ahead and start right about here, and I'm going to start with a loop on my hook and pull that tight on there. Then we're going to go ahead and slip stitch this onto our square by just inserting this into a stitch, pulling it through and pulling it through that loop and pulling it tight. I'm then going to chain 1 and single crochet into the same stitch and work 1 single crochet in each stitch until you come to these chain spaces, where we will work 1 single crochet in each chain space, and then we will continue on to work 1 single crochet in each stitch until we come to these chain spaces. When you come to the chain spaces, it will of course be different for all sizes, small, medium, and large, but you will just go ahead and work 1 single crochet around each chain space, or 4 each chain space, and 1 single crochet into each single crochet that there is. You will then continue on to work 1 single crochet in each stitch until the next corner, where we will work 3 single crochets around this chain space, and continue this pattern all the way around until you get to your first single crochet, and you will slip stitch into that and finish this off. When you are finished with the border around the bottom, we will go on to make the waistband around the top. So I have attached my hook and yarn to one of the chain 3 spaces in the exact same way as we did around the bottom, and we are going to chain 1 and single crochet around or into the first stitch, and we are going to work 1 single crochet for each stitch all the way around this row. You will also be working into the side of the half squares, so you will want to make sure to work 2 single crochets for a double crochet and 3 single crochets for a triple crochet. Then you will want to do this all the way around and slip stitch into the first single crochet. Okay, so I have made it all the way around the first row of the waistband for this skirt and have slip stitched back into the first single crochet of the row. Because everybody's size and shape is a little bit different, these next few rows may be worked differently for everybody. For instance, I am working a size large skirt, which means it is 44 inches around, but I'm going to be working this skirt waist down to 40 inches. So I'm going to start with a single crochet in this first stitch, and I'm going to choose a number, maybe 10, and single crochet into the first 10 stitches, and then bring the next 2 stitches together, and repeat this pattern all the way around this row. If it does not match up perfectly with 10 single crochets and 2 stitches together at the end of the row, that is okay. Just end with single crochets or 2 stitches together, depending on whether or not you want it to be tighter or the same size at that point. You can of course choose a different number besides 10. You can decrease sooner than 10 or less frequently, so do more single crochets in between your 2 stitches together. It is up to you how quickly you want this to decrease. After this first row of decreasing, if you want that same size to straighten out along the waist for just a row, then you can go on and do 1 row of 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. If you feel that it needs to decrease again in the next row, then you can do that. Again, choose any number that you like. It doesn't have to be 10. You can decrease as frequently or as little as you would like, and prolong this waistline or make it as short as you would like to. So again, after this row, you will want to start decreasing as little or as often as you would like, and make your waistband look however you would like, as long and thick or as short and thin as you would like it to be. If you have reached a point where your waistband is the size around that you would want it to be, so say mine was 40 inches around, but it was not as wide as I would like it to be, you will then continue to just work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around for however many rows it takes you to accomplish the width that you would like. The last thing that we are going to do for the skirt, if you would like to, is add some fringe to the bottom. Here my fringe is 5 inches long, and to do this we are going to start out with a string that is about 10 inches long and fold that in half. We will then take our crochet hook and put it through the stitch that we want the fringe, and hook that onto our hook, pull it through, and then bring the tail ends through the loop and pull that tight. I have put 1 string in each stitch all the way around my skirt, but you can do less or more if you would like to, depending on how thick or thin you would like this to be. And that is all there is to it for this crochet skirt. I hope that this was enjoyable and helpful for you. If it was, please hit that sub, like, and bell button and leave me a comment to tell me what you think. I hope you go on to create many amazing things, and until next time guys, I'll see ya.